Hi guys, welcome to the Indoor Studio. In this video I'm going to go through why 9 out of 10 golfers that I teach tend to struggle with balls that pull to the left, over curve to the right, and generally where you struggle striking golf ball solid. This video is going to show you how to control the club face through the backswing. Let's get started. Why 9 out of 10 golfers that I teach struggle pulling the ball, curving it to the right and generally miss-hitting it? It's due to the fact that the club face actually gets too open to the arc in the golf swing. Let me explain that. What does it look like? So from this view here, the club face gets too twisted open this way. Now a lot of people have this philosophy in the swing that when they take the club back to where it's parallel with the ground here, the toe of the golf ball should be pointing up. Well, I'm going to show you now that that's open. If I come out of my forward bend, you can see here, and then I turn round, you can see here how that club face is now open at least 30 degrees. And if we're making that move in the backswing, you've got less than a blink of an eye in the downswing to try and manage that issue. Very rarely can you find that you'll get the club face square. We're going to go through what a lot of players actually do and why they pull the ball and why they curve it to the right and miss-hit it, and some signs to look for. There's a couple of things to look out for in the backswing. One would be actually overturning and how to manage how much we need to use some tilting in our golf swing. We actually need to tilt to the left in our backswing. Tilting to the left helps us actually turn to the right. If we just turn, it's going to look like this from this view. You'd actually start to turn here. In my previous videos, I told you about how where the lead shoulder is in the golf swing affects where you hit the ground. This can also be an issue with the club face being open. So we're players, we're just told to turn this way, and I would turn. I would actually stay in my forward bend, and you can see here, if I turn around and face the camera here, you can see now what I'm looking like in my address position. So how do I make a proper backswing? There's 3 pieces in the swing that we need to do with our spine. Now this sounds complicated, but it's really not, and I'll show you this little 3-piece segment drill here, which is really good for nailing that backswing perfectly. So in the backswing, we actually start to extend. We actually have a tilt to the left, and then we have a rotation. So if you will not see that from there, if I now turn here, can you see how that looks like a proper backswing? So the drill that I'd like you to do would be actually to extend, tilt to the left, and then turn. And you can see here how my backswing is now nice and stable, it's getting my head nice and centered. Once you've got the measure of understanding how much extending and tilting and turning that we need to do in the backswing, you can start to measure what the club face is doing. The first part of the golf swing that we can measure that is from an address position here up to where the shaft is parallel in the back. So what we're looking for here is the club face to be matching our spine angle, as you can see. And if I come up out of my forward bend, so I just extended and I got rid of my left bend, can you now see that the club face is nice and square? That would be the first part of the swing that I would recommend that you get really used to controlling the club face. So from the address position to the shaft parallel, you just want the feeling of the shoulder working down and the knee flex changing from this view. And again, the shoulder working down and the knee flex changing. And there is no rotation, there's no need to roll any of the joints here. You see that is actually starting to open and close the face. So imagine that part of your swing as an elongated putting stroke here. So the shoulder working down, changing the knee flex to here. That's going to get us into a really good spot to complete the backswing. Now the final piece of the backswing, we're going to still keep working the body in the way that I suggested in the start. So we still need to keep tilting to the left, extending, tilting to the left, extending and turning to keep the shoulder centre stable. Even if I'm grilling this video as a credit card, what I want you to do is pop this underneath your wristwatch, just like this, or even in the underside of your glove under the Velcro here. Now the credit card, as you can see here, is an indicator of my wrist here. So if I move my wrist in any way, I'm going to get some feedback from it. Okay, so if I move my wrist away from it, I'm going to feel some separation from the card here. And if I move my wrist into it, it's going to start to push into the back of my left hand here. So as we can see here, if I have a nice flat wrist, which as we've got a nice functional grip here, we should have the credit card just resting on the top of the left hand here. If I push my hand away from it, it's going to close the face. And if I actually push the credit card into my hand here, you can see that it's opening the face. And the one thing that I see people do from this position, if they've got in a good position from here, is actually stop left bending, extending, turning. They actually stop their body here and they start to use their arms. One of the pieces they start to use in their swing to make a full backswing is their left wrist. So they make a full swing, getting the club to parallel here. The problem that I've got, if I start extending this wrist, okay, it's going to open the club face. So at the top, if you look anything like this at the top of the swing, the cupped face here and the toe of the club pointing down towards the ground, that's going to cause some issues. Now the players that you see that do this, with the face being open at the top here, what they will start to do is they start to swing to the left to square the face, and you can see here that the face is square, but the club is travelling a long way to the left of my target line. That's the most common one that I see. The other one will be from this view here, where a player will be in this position here, and they will actually start to release early, release the club head out and square the face this way, and then the handle will be back. And if you watch my last videos, you would see that having the handle back is going to make you hit the ground first. If you keep doing that, you're going to start to narrow the radius of the swing and start topping the ball and have the arm bent. What we're going to look for in this swing from here is once we've got ourselves in a nice position here where our shoulders work down and our knees have changed flex, we're going to get the feeling that the credit card here stays on top of the wrist, it doesn't dig in, and it doesn't move away from the wrist closing the face. It just stays on top, so the left wrist stays nice and flat. And from this position here, I just want you to get the feeling that your shoulder keeps working down, you start changing the flex of the knees, shoulder working down, changing the knee flex, and at the top here, now you can see that the club face, from the camera there, you can see the grooves on the face as opposed to this. Once we're in this position here, the subconscious has no need for us to swing over the top and square the face. The face is square, so we can now start to deliver the club down the incline plane nice and square and straight into the golf ball. And the face is going to be pointing towards the target, and our path is going to be much straighter, so you're going to see a lot more straighter shots. Our sweet spot is going to start to line up with the golf ball much earlier. We don't have to start making any compensations or pulling across the golf ball to hit the ball nice and solid. I really hope this works. Give this a try on the range, and if you need any more help with this, please get in contact with me. I'll be more than happy to help you in the future. Thank you for watching. See you soon.
Here is a case study of a player that would open the face to the arc during the backswing. We look at the first part of the golf swing to where the shaft is parallel on the way back. You see the shoulder is worked too much across and the joints have rolled. You can see here, and the trail knee is starting to stay bent too long, and the club head is starting to get swept behind. We're starting to see the lead wrist start to cup. If I then show you here on the right, the player was told to move the shoulder down and change the knee flex. Now the club face is in a much better position. Trail leg and the trail hip have extended, the shoulder certainly moved down towards the ground more. So we move on through to the backswing. The player now stops using the body and starts to roll and extend the wrist. I'm just going to open the face. So if you look like this at the top, the club face is open to the arc. The lead wrist is now cupped. Trail hip and the knee are too flexed. We move this guy on the right, which is after a couple of cues. The player keeps extending the trail leg, allowing the body more range of motion. We can see here stark contrast at the top of the backswing, this allowing this player to swing straight into the golf ball, with the face square in the arc during the downswing, and hit the ball much straighter.